Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Friday. We got another super awesome episode of Elev8ed in store for you tonight. We're going to be joined here in a minute by Fancy Jeff, Glassworks. Before we get to him, we're going to talk with Steve real quick.
What up, y'all? I'm Steve with Elev8, and today I'm really excited. We got Fancy Jeff coming down here. I got to work with this guy, and he's been doing glass for, I want to say 2 years, 3 years right now. Very new into it, but his passion is phenomenal. He's always breaking little new grounds, expanding his skills, and I got to work with the guy, and I got to say his work ethic is phenomenal. So super plus there. So follow this guy, Fancy Jeff, and I promise you're going to be seeing some really cool things coming out from this guy. Some things I want to mention and show you guys I'm really excited about is we got our stemless wine glasses coming out. And not only just wine, but you can also put in your beer, water, milk, some coffee, whatever. But they kind of spin around, do their things and whatnot. We also have regular glasses like this, but they're great for any kind of birthday present, anything like that. And you know, we got all kinds of great glass that can be made up any which way, shape, or form. Anyways, let's go check out Mr. Fancy Jeff here. Here we go, Chris.
Thanks, Steve. That was super awesome. And now for our very special interview with Fancy Jeff. Hey, man, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Definitely appreciate being able to be here with you tonight, man.
So how long have you been behind the torch?
I actually just hit 3 years last month. Going on my third year now. About second year full time.
Nice, that's awesome. I've talked to plenty of people on here who are like, oh yeah, I didn't get full time until 4, 5, 6 years into their career. And that's awesome that you're able to move to full time so soon. How did you get started blowing glass? Like what interested you in it?
Probably about 3.5 years ago, I was just scrolling through Instagram with a buddy of mine. And I think the first piece that kind of caught my eye was the Optimus Prime piece that Banjo had made. And when I saw that, it just kind of hit me that glass can be so much more than just a beaker. It can be so much more than just a straight tube. And it really just inspired me. I had been cooking for about 5 years prior, and it wasn't fulfilling to me anymore. It just beat me down, and I was getting ready to make a change, and I was like, well, there's a lot to this, and I knew it could go anywhere. So the first year was pretty much setting up my shop, and midway through that, I knew that at the pace I was going, I knew I wanted more out of it, and I knew I'd have to start making some sacrifices to make that happen. And I made the choice to start living mobily and started traveling, moved to Oregon, did an apprenticeship down there, came back to my hometown, visited family for a while. And then after that, about beginning of this year, moved down to Colorado actually, and got to spend some time with Elev8. And I loved the opportunity. And I loved everything about it. And right when COVID hit, I had to make the tough decision of I was the only person out in Colorado. The rest of my family is all here in Washington. And it was either stay there and end up getting stuck in Colorado and not getting to see family, or come back. So I decided to come back, and I've just been practicing and drilling more time on the torch since, and just putting more to it.
So what type of like glass blowing situation did you start with? Did you start in a studio or just built like a home studio?
Built a home studio. I was living in an apartment and just got small tank oxygen. A buddy of mine got a GTT Cheetah, and we hit to it. But before that, did like everyone else, got a propane burner and some soft glass from local craft store and just started playing with it.
Heck yeah, yeah. Just the motions, and the movement of glass is so unique. It's so much fun.
It is, but it's kind of fun that ultimately it only boils down to two things. You're either pushing or pulling glass, but conceptually that it's so much more expansive than that and what it's capable of.
Yeah, like anything from a simple spoon pipe to, like you mentioned, that incredible Optimus Prime sculpture.
Oh, absolutely.
What sort of things did you start making when you first got on the torch?
I started with just small little dab tools, just learning how to bend it, play with it, try and curve it, and then started trying to blend color. And that's when I learned get it hotter, a lot hotter. Blend would snap in 4 pieces, and yeah, that's not hot enough.
Yeah.
I did some necklaces, just blended color, put a bail on it, stuck with mushroom pendants for a good while, and just the small odds and ends things.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Do you remember what the first item that you blew on your own was, and do you still have it?
I don't believe, actually, yes, I do have the first actual item. It's in one of these cases around here. It used to be on the first pot. I had it. Nope, wrong one. No, it's in here. I took a class from a local glass blower, and all I did was I put some dichro, clear, and color and just mixed it up, and that came to be.
That's awesome.
And I've managed to hold on to it since. And then I have one clear spoon that I just blew a bubble, popped a hole, pushed the bowl, popped the carb, and just melted off for the mouthpiece.
Nice.
That's buried away in the car as the emergency spoon.
The emergency spoon. I like that. Did you have a mentor at all when you were starting, or mostly self-taught?
The very beginning, it was self-taught for the first year. It would have been, I believe, spring of 2018. An apprenticeship I had seen on Torch Talk opened up down in Oregon, and I was already preparing for something to open up in the area, and I saw that. I hopped on that, went down to a shop in Sutherland, Oregon. My first mentor was Tony Davies and his son Christopher Davies, and they were very welcoming to everyone and were great people, great glass blowers as well, and learned a lot from them, but definitely taught a lot of the fundamentals of how to move glass happy.
Yeah.
Because I learned I was not moving it happy. My success rate for the first year, many people I feel would have stopped at some point, but I just kept telling myself, nope, you're just going to keep trying.
Yeah, you just got to tell yourself that's part of the process. It's like almost like anything else, you have to fail 1,000 times before you have
to. Yeah, I can tell you 200 ways not to do it type deal.
Yeah, that's experience you only get through experience, or knowledge you only get through experience, I should say.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can learn so much from others. You can gain so much from hearing and seeing. And then there's another level of what it is to doing, especially when it's coming down to you and your own hands and learning what your own body is capable of and not capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had a chance to work with that mentor recently at all, or not since you left?
No, it is my next stop. I'm wanting to make a trip down south and definitely spend some time back there again. Get to learn a little bit more from him and definitely bring back some new tricks that I know a few of the guys in the shop are going to love.
Nice. You got multiple people in the shop that you're in right now?
I am actually in a home studio right now. I live with
cool.
One of my best friends from high school. I've been teaching him the ropes of blowing glass, and it's just every day it's a project here. It's great.
Nice. You mentioned a minute ago that you had taken a class. Have you taken multiple classes or just one?
I have taken a total of 6. 3 with the original person. His name was Darren Steen. He was a local soft glass worker and turned Boro. Then I took a Caleb Folk class. And then actually most recently, I took the Alderson Filicello class and learned quite a bit from that one. And I'm definitely inspired on a new level of line work because I've been playing with wigwags now for about the last 6 months and learning the definite clarity to what you can do with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We just did an interview with Caleb Falk a few weeks ago. That's awesome that you taken a class from him.
Oh, it was a phenomenal class. It was on Valentine's Day, and at the time, sculpting was my favorite thing to do. Just at the moment, I decided just lay off sculpting for a little bit, and I wanted to go back to what I saw as the roots and learning wigwags because, again, yeah, having so much of a process, excuse me, having so much of a process to get the end product is time consuming, and it's beautiful though in the end result.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know how a wigwag works, you look at a wigwag and you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I just loved the fundamental challenge that they give.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned cooking. Were you always an artistic person though?
Ever since I was a kid, I was the one that my parents, there was never something I couldn't do. They would say, try this, try that. And I always dove in head first and would try and fix it, play with it, take it apart, whatever it was. My hands were always busy. And I always had a way around something or just playing around the problem or learning the definite borders. I was a creative kid all along.
Oh, that's very cool because I definitely, when we do these interviews, I get like the people who are like, oh, I've always been creative, I've always been experimental, or the people that are like, no, I never had done any sort of arts, never considered myself to be a creative person until glass came into my life, and then it opened up this whole creative side. And I think that's really interesting how you can have like the two different ends of the spectrum of types of like artistic talent who can just make absolutely mind-blowing glass work, whether they consider themselves to be a creative person or not.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite techniques or styles to use?
Favorite techniques and styles? Personally, the deep root. I love color. I love to blend. I love to play. I love just to see what it does, like what works and what doesn't.
I mean, like your first piece that you showed me, that was just an experiment to see what happens and what.
Yeah, it was a square of dichro, a bit of clear, a little bit of color, and just he's like, here, just go ahead and play with it. And I just melted it all together as much as I could and as much as my hands could handle at the time, and called it good and kept it because I knew someday I'd want to put it on a piece. And I used to have it on a Sherlock, but I took it off the Sherlock and I just haven't put it on the next personal piece. I don't make myself pieces all too often, and every so often when I feel like going all out and just being creative, trying something new, that if it fails, it fails. I'm already mentally like, I'm going to give it my all, but I'm not worried if it fails. I want to end up putting it on something for the next personal piece. So always have that roots of this is what you started on. Yeah, that's awesome. You like almost keep it moving through your career as you progress and get better. Always have that little marker of like, remember, this is where you were. Yep, this is where you were. You were here. Yeah, that's one of the cooler things about glass is like just the curve is so steep of like when you first get on the torch versus like even just 3 months from your first time. Oh, absolutely. And it's different for every single person. Some people that are building from scratch, it can take them a year to even light a flame. Others, they can come into an environment that's already completely set up and start playing on day one. and learning from scratch. And it's just, again, personal drive and determination and what situation. So what someone can do in 6 months, maybe it took another guy 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody moves at their own pace in this industry, which is beautiful. Um, so you said color. Color is some of your favorite things to use.
Color and wigwags.
Wigwags. You mentioned right before, or maybe it was right after the Caleb Falk class, you said you like wanted to shift away from sculpting. What made you want to shift your focus?
Yeah, I was wanting to shift away from the sculpting aspect of creating more of the 3D side of it. And I wanted to focus on what you could put in the form of what the piece is, a hammer or a bubbler. I wanted to push the boundaries of what you could still create to the eye in just the simple shape. And wigwags being what they are interested me. And 6 months of playing with them, I feel I have a good grasp of them. And I wanted to just push a little harder. And the Alderson class caught my eye, and it's like, this looks like just the next little step up, the next little bit of, it's going to feel like day one again. Let's work on it, push through, and learn from this and keep pushing.
Break out of that feeling of like uncomfortable space and into where you're like, okay, I understand what's going on. I understand how this works.
Yeah.
So what are your favorite items to make? Pipes, pendants, rigs?
My favorite right now is definitely the mix of pendants, and I've been focusing on rigs lately. I was wanting to learn the fundamentals on getting them down and being able to make them solid, create them with wigwags, and then here shortly I'm wanting to start doing them with some Filicello sections.
Nice.
That's my goal here in the next month or so.
Very cool. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. I'm excited to see what comes of that project. What is your favorite color to work with?
Favorite color to work with? I think right now, in what I have, it's probably going to be in the blue range, and a lot of the base is going to be definitely aqua azul. It's the base for a lot of different blends I keep trying to make, and it's just the colors I know and what I want to try and make, I need to stick away from. I'm trying to get creative with the other ones that I have that work, that are still catching to the eye enough of a new shade or something. And blue is definitely overfilling my prep station, but it's nice. I love what I can do with it.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of my favorites as well. It's super versatile. You can use it in all sorts of different color schemes and applications and all of that. What is your least favorite color to work with?
Least favorite is definitely probably going to be what was it? It's a transparent brown Darth Badger. I was using it on a wood tech piece, and it just kept wanting to kind of scuzz up on me and boil simultaneously. At times, yes, I felt I rushed it, and there were a few times I know I felt I did, and there were others I felt I was being gentle, but even being gentle, I felt I was still seeing some surface strain and whatnot forming, but kept trying to work it hotter, but it just kept wanting to stay. But I used the last of it up on the last piece, so I don't need to worry about it for a while.
Nice. That's good. It's not like you have like a pile of it sitting on your bench that you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this 1.5 pounds.
The pile I have is a pile of cobalt. Companies, I believe it was Space Glass, I had won a giveaway from them, and there was a ton. I think it was like 2 pounds of cobalt shorts. Excuse me. And there was like 3 Ziploc bags of them, and I still have, I think, like a Ziploc bag and a half sitting around after I've welded shorts and blended the crap out of the rest.
Nice. So when you're blending colors, are you blending rods together?
Yes, most of the time I'm blending rods. I'm starting to take into more account now with doing it with tubes and sleeving, and I'm getting some good results, but I feel right now I have a little bit more grasp of starting on solid. And once I get to solid, there's a couple different ways that I can apply it. Most of the times the blends have been getting turned into stringers. Right now it's rare that I actually make a custom blended tube. I only have 2 pieces right now actually that are even blended color made up on my prep station. It's not often that I do them.
Very cool. What would you say is the most difficult piece you've ever attempted? Successful or unsuccessful?
Most difficult piece I think I've tried yet was my first full creature sculpted rig, having 2 large wings, 8 large tentacles, 2 arms, a good sized sculpted head, chunky little body. And it was the first time I had done anything that big, and my arm was not used to understanding that yet, and realized real quick, okay, the glass starts to get heavy after a while, and having to try to switch grips and still being able to do it. And that one, just for sake of, it was very outside my comfort zone, because the 3 or 4 months prior to that, I had just been making carb caps constantly.
Oh, wow.
And dab sticks for a shop of mine, and just kept doing it over and over and over and over and over, and then decided, let's go big. Realized, glass gets heavy.
Did you plan that out before you did it, or just kind of got struck with inspiration and then dove in?
Planned the shape out. It was actually a shape I had thought of probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I had made this piece I think in June or July of this year, and I'd wanted to make him, and finally was like, okay, I think it's time to try and finally make him, and had the pieces planned out where I wanted what to sit. But in terms of sculpting, I just went for it. And sadly, the only thing that happened, I welded the first down stem into the mass of the body to start the hard part, and then add all the attachments and put it in the kiln. I turned around, walked away, and the missus all of a sudden just, oh no. And I'm like, I knew what happened. Just walked over, flipped the lid up, and it's in 2 pieces, completely snapped in half. I'm like, that's not fixable.
Oh no.
And decided to remake the body, and had all the pieces ready. Decided to sleep on it, started it the next morning and finished it. And he ended up coming out, and I kept him just for sake of, this was the first thing I was able to finally bring to fruition, having learned the skill to blow glass and finally make.
Yeah.
He was definitely the trickiest.
The sentimental value of that whole experience was worth so much to you.
Oh, absolutely. And I definitely suggest it to any newer people or getting into blowing glass, keep some pieces every so often. It's nice to keep them. It's your work. It's beautiful. And every so often you're like, I want to sell that one, but no, it's worth it to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you do collaborations ever?
Lately, I haven't. I think I had sent off 2 pieces in a giveaway a while back to a newer glass blower, and just haven't seen anything from that. But as of lately, it's been a ton of solo. I've been thinking about wanting to start collaborating with other artists and trying out some new stuff and learning some new things with others.
Yeah. You said you're in Washington right now?
Yep. Central Washington, Yakima.
Very cool. How's the glass scene up there? Is there a lot of artists?
I am one of 4 in the town that I know of, and I don't work with the others. I can't really ever get a hold of them, and so pretty much I'm in a no man's zone.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
I've got to definitely travel to work with others.
Ever done mail collabs where you get sections sent to you or send off a section?
Have not done that much yet, or I've thought about doing that, just haven't played with it much yet.
Gotcha. Do you consume yourself?
I do.
Nice. What's your preferred method? Dabbing, smoking, joints?
It is definitely just out of either just a spoon or just out of a nice little water piece.
Nice, nice. Do you use a piece that you made yourself?
Right now it is one that is actually my roommate's. I share with him a lot, and it's the main water piece. And then I've got a few spoons spread around that I kind of frequent depending on the area I'm in, just because again, we are in a playground. We are always tinkering, we're always building, we're always destroying. It's always something. So depending on area, I've got my pieces spread around, definitely ready.
That's awesome. What sort of things can we look forward to in the future for Fancy Jeff class?
Definitely some things to look forward to is some Filicello work, and I'm thinking across the board with that between caps, some pendants, and on some types of dab rigs, and definitely on some tubes.
Very cool, very cool. What led you to starting that new project?
After taking I had seen the class when I decided to sign up for it, knowing that it was going to be a challenge. I decided to try one, and the first try I did a cut and flip, and the end result is just spider cracked all throughout the piece, and just showed me, yeah, there's a lot more to doing this happy than the way I was doing it. Again, one of the ways, I'll tell you, one of the 200 ways not to do it.
Nice,
but
nice.
That definitely, taking the class and seeing it done, I finally had this hand skill. I could comprehend what I was seeing and relate to, okay, this is how I need to slightly transition to be able to achieve this and fine tune what I was already doing. And definitely fell in love again with what the patterns can be, because wig wags, yes, you can get so many results with them, but the Filicellos adds so much more depth into what's achievable, especially with what numerology you're using and how many lines you so choose and can fit.
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of opens up to what your hands can do after that point, and what your imagination can produce. Do you still find the same love and passion that you had when you first started blowing glass?
Oh, it's more. It's deeper now. It's so much deeper. I knew I had it in the beginning, but no, now it's more, and I'm learning to focus and hone in a little more too. In the beginning, I couldn't sit still. I wouldn't make the same thing twice. The next thing would be a spoon, then a pendant, and then something else, dab stick, some sculpture. I just wanted to play, and finally in learning the material, I'm like, no, dive in, focus a little more, and play on a concept. And that was about beginning of this year. I decided, no, let's play on a concept, and I just started digging into wig wags and
nice.
Evolved with them.
Very cool, very cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Not off the top of my head. Definitely have enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was super fun. Thanks for doing this with you. Everybody follow him on Instagram at FancyJeff_Glassworks. We'll have that here on the page. You guys can go check out more of his work. Yeah, thanks for doing this with us, man. It was super fun to get to talk with you. Thanks again to Fancy Jeff for joining us for that interview. Super fun to get to talk with a relatively new glassblower in the industry. We tend to highlight mostly the OGs and the veterans, but it's cool to hear somebody who's relatively new in their perspective on glass and industry. We got a little bit more time tonight, so we're going to cut over to Elev8 Dolls.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Teresa here with Elev8 Dolls. Thank you, Chris, so much for having me on tonight. I really enjoy watching all the glass blowers and listening to how they've blossomed into the people they've become. My favorite question is when you ask them what's next. What are they going to do for the next 20 years? I always love to hear when people have goals. In fact, one of my goals is to grow Elev8 Dolls as big as we can across this world. What is Elev8 Dolls? Elev8 Dolls is a movement. It's a movement of women living a higher state of mind, body, and spirit who really want to experience this cannabis world, or just the world that evolves around it, the alternative lifestyle, with us. So what we do is we offer a brand ambassador program. That brand ambassador program gives you a coupon in order to purchase any of this stuff. It also gives you the option to pretty much be your own business and sell this stuff as well. What you see here is not all that we have available. There is so much more. I really would love the chance to talk to you, and I appreciate that you're listening to me tonight. So if you would like some more information on how to earn some money with Elev8, please DM or go to elev8dolls.com. Thank you, and elevate mind, body, and spirit.
Thanks again. Remember, check out our brand new Elev8 Dolls website at elev8dolls.com if you want to learn more information about becoming an Elev8 doll yourself or telling someone you know to become an Elev8 doll. I'm going to jump over and talk with Elev8 veterans real quick.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks again, Chris, for having us. I'm John with Elev8 Veterans, and I'm just here to remind you guys, we got all this cool stuff and all these cool opportunities. If you're a veteran in the community and you guys are looking for somewhere to hang out, Elev8 is your place. As you can see, we got a kind of thing for everybody here. No matter what community, what stroke of life you're in, you're always welcome here. So if you guys have some free time and you want to come learn about what Elev8 Veterans is doing and how we can help you, come on down, dude. We got plenty of time, and if you'd like to volunteer, offer up some of your time as well, we'd love that too. So hopefully see you guys soon. Take it easy.
We got a few more minutes left in here, and no Friday night would be complete without a smoke session, so we're going to do a quick product demo for you guys.
What's up, Elev8 fam? Johnny here. I work at the warehouse as a wholesale account executive. If you guys want to join, please look into our brand ambassador program. It's really fun. It's another Friday here, so sesh time. And this week's sesh, I wanted to bring out the Dab Bat, show off our product here. This is our Dab Bat Dab Straw. This thing is sick. And the reason why, it's a borosilicate body. There's a silicone cap, and then there's a retractable quartz tip there. And so, as you see, that goes in. And like I said, this is quartz glass. So, borosilicate body, quartz glass top, boom, puts it right back there. Simple, right? The beauty of it is say you're going to a show, a 3-day show, which before all of this craziness happened, those were things like that. Or say you want to bring it on the go with you and you're going on a hike. This is the perfect way to now be able to consume with a dab bat, because that is my preferred way of consumption is dabbing, and dab straws are the most conservative way to hit your dabs. So it's a fun way to bring it with you. So Friday, thanks for letting me join the Elev8ed 8. Time to sesh, I guess, right? And so the thermal range on this quartz tip is way different too, so it makes it much better glass at dealing with these temperatures. So less likely to crack when you heat it up. And I got here my honey bucket with some concentrate in it. And she rips like a champ. And then the magic happens. Boom. Now I can put it in my pocket and be on my way. Thanks for letting me join. Elevate mind, body, and spirit, everybody.
We're getting to the end of our Elev8ed 8 tonight. Thanks again for joining us. Huge thank you to Fancy Jeff for joining us for that interview. We'll be back here again next Friday with another awesome episode for you guys. Remember, elevate mind, body, and spirit.